Chris.
Hey.
How you doing?
Great.
Gosh.
Gosh. Gosh, I'm doing about as good as you can do.
Gosh. Well, that's good news. Today, we are going to... welcome to Local Pickup.
Welcome to Local Pickup.
I'm Jason Broadwater.
I'm Chris Gervais.
And we are going to talk about one of the coolest guitars ever made.
It really is cool. I mean, you said it. Because it really is actually cool.
It is super cool. Danelectro Shorthorn. This is a DC-1 because there's one pickup. They make them with two. They made them with three. This is a 1959 electric guitar.
Man, this thing has been there
and
done that. Nasty.
This guitar is in such good condition, it's uncanny.
Yeah.
It's like it just sat in a case for the past 60 years.
Yeah, I actually, when they were doing the reissues of this era of guitars, like in the 00s, I bought one at that time period, and it's in way worse shape than this.
So they did them then, and now they're doing them again now. So Danelectro has, I'm not sure who owns it or if the same people owned it then as now, but they make pedals, they make guitars, they make reissues, and apparently they're a great company doing great things. But these guitars have become really valuable. They were cheap when they were first released, and they were sold through like Montgomery Ward catalog, like Sears, Montgomery Ward kind of catalogs. And Danelectro they started out...
So a cowboy might have that. I think they did.
Maybe.
I think cowboys had that.
Cowboys had that.
I think I know cowboys.
I mean, if I know one thing.
That guy associated with Sears catalogs.
You're right. Usually my image of a cowboy is he's thumbing through a Sears catalog while he's on the range.
I'm going to get this Masters of the Universe figure.
I think that's more our era.
All right.
Yeah,
well, I've never actually looked up cowboys.
I don't understand what we're talking about, really. I'm just throwing out examples.
I haven't Googled cowboys yet. I feel pretty confident talking about them.
Danelectro in the 1950s started making amplifiers, electric amplifiers. Because like the Telecaster came out in like 48, 50, right? So there were electric guitars were getting widely popular throughout the 50s. People started making electric guitars. Harmony and Danelectro started making electric guitars and electric guitar amps to be able to be purchased through the catalogs that everybody was getting at home. Because it's very common, these big department stores, and people would go to the department stores and buy all their Christmas presents. Yeah. So they buy a guitar for the boy and a dolly for the girl, you know, like that kind of stuff back in the 50s. And so Danelectro came up with and they made things that are branded Airline, like amps and stuff.
Oh.
Danelectro made it. Well, Danelectro came up with their own model of guitar, and it was kind of going for that kind of surf thing.
Yeah.
And they came up with a completely unique design, and to make them as cheaply and as quickly as possible, they made it out of a composite material, composite wood. So it's not an actual piece of wood, it's like a pressed together piece of wood, and it's hollow on the inside. So it was like, I mean, they did it basically to make them as cheap as possible, but they accidentally stumbled upon one of the greatest sounds, that hollow...
It's not far removed from that, like, kind of Gretsch sound.
Or the Telecaster.
Yeah, it's got that country.
But it's got the Rickenbacker jingle that. It's so jingly. Which is great. So, like, it had this just unique sound. It had the jingle. I mean, you can play it like it's an acoustic. Like more than any other electric guitar that I know of. And so Jimmy Page got one of these guitars and recorded, legend says, 4 of their albums with this guitar.
Really? Wow.
Not this exact guitar, but with a Danelectro Shorthorn, just like this. And played it live all the time. And these guitars were like cheap. You could buy them in the Montgomery Ward catalog. But the sound there's nothing that sounds like it. Because of the way it was made.
I think that's, and I've always associated that with Danelectro, the fact that they look like so simple, and this one has one pickup, and they just look so basic and simple and easy, but they somehow summon this sound. It's bigger than the guitar.
I mean, listen to it. just got an amazing sound.
Yeah, it's definitely a full sound.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just incredible, and it's a strange beast, man. So you got one pickup, and it's called a lipstick pickup because they just put all the electronics, just crammed it into what was like a lipstick case that you would have bought from Montgomery Ward, basically.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they crammed it in there, and
I thought they put on lipstick
and
before
then made a
they
pickup.
crammed
Yeah,
it in
right.
there.
It was all folks with lipstick on, different times, and so the super simple bridge here, saddle and everything.
Yeah, you
Super
don't see a
simple
lot of
pickup.
electric guitars with wood bridges.
I know, yeah. And I mean the electric guitars, I mean the electric strings right here.
Yeah, they just kind of lay on the.
They're just stuck in these
Yeah.
little grooves, right? And the screws are just, I mean, it's just so simple.
Yeah, your action.
Yeah, and it's got an adjustable neck, like Fenders at the time had, where you can stick a tool in here and you can adjust the angle of the neck. So instead of having to do a neck reset that would be, change the nature of the guitar, you can make
that's
it.
what that is.
Yeah, you go in there and you
Interesting.
can change the angle of the neck.
Oh.
And I mean,
wow.
this guitar is in such incredible condition. I mean, there's a little bit of dings up on the top of this, which is very common. But
Somebody
other
was
than
surfing
that,
too hard.
yeah, surfing too hard. Other than that, it's just incredible. And so, like, you got a three-way switch here, which is weird because you only have one pickup. But what it does is, it basically just turns the tone knob on and off. So, like, that's the tone knob. You can roll it on and off, right? Well, when you flip back up here, it just makes the tone knob
Weird.
not even affecting it. So it's just taking the tone knob in and out of the circuit.
So the all the way up is the brighter sound.
Well, it's the sound without any tone knob at all.
Oh.
So like, there's no difference.
Oh, interesting. Oh, so it is actually, okay, so I misspoke. So it is actually warmer. Well, if you have the tone all the way up, then the up position would be warmer.
Right. So it's just turning the tone knob on and off, basically.
I'm deciding if tone means brighter, crisper.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really strange kind of guitar, man. But it's just gorgeous. It couldn't be simpler. It's in immaculate condition. We had a lot of times these guitars will shrink. The wood shrinks over time, and so the frets don't shrink, so they'll start to stick out of the edges a little bit, and it'll kind of cut your hands. So we did a little shaving on the side of the frets. But other than that, we didn't have to do anything. I mean, it is like the neck is beautifully straight. The guitar is just gorgeous, man. And it just has an unreplicable sound, And it's funny because it achieved that sound by being the cheapest way they could make it was with this compressed wood.
Yeah, that's so
heavy,
interesting.
Gloss on it.
The idea was like, let's make it cheaper, but it does. I mean, yeah, I've always associated that Danelectro sound. It's always a guitar that I thought was really cool. Since I started learning about guitars.
Well, the tone, like people are all into tone. Like they're
Yeah.
famous for having this unreplicable tone.
Yeah, it's funny. I wonder, was that a happy accident that,
I kind of think it had to be, man. I mean, unless they were just like, we figured out how to improve tone and make a cheaper guitar,
Right,
which maybe they did.
True, yeah. I
know?
will say, we've covered a lot of that like surf era. I feel like most of the guitars we've talked about on here were guitars from that kind of surf era where they were just apparently everyone on the planet was pushing out all these guitars for the surf craze. And this doesn't look like, Danelectro doesn't look like any of those. There was a mean kind of way that those guitars looked, and Danelectro was a different feel.
It's just asking for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's got that bite, that Telecaster. That high-end Telecaster kind of.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, and it reminds me, like I said, of the Rickenbacker jangle.
Yeah, it's also
do
got.
the
It's interesting
jangly
because it
thing.
sort of is the midpoint. Because I don't think about that beefy kind of. With that kind of jangly kind of. But the high end pieces it does have that jangle feel. With that bite and that.
Yeah. Well, you know, Jimmy Page, like I said, recorded a lot of their music with it, and even stuff that he might play. I mean, he played it live too, but even stuff he might play a Les Paul with live, he was recording a lot of that stuff with the Danelectro in the studio, just because of the articulation of each note. I mean, the guitar is like every note sounds out, and sounds great.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier about what you sort of seek for in guitar tone, and I'm like, I don't know a lot. I was, you know. I know what I hear, and I'm just like, I think the best thing is when you can hear that it's a guitar, you can hear the strings, you can hear the notes making up the chord, you know, as opposed to just one sort of mush of a sound. And the Danelectro is, I do associate Telecasters with that sound.
Right, yeah.
And the Danelectro can pull that off.
For sure, man, for sure. And I mean, it's, you know, you can do, I wish I was a surf guitarist and could pull out some killer riff, but I could just do this much. And you can be like, wow, that's a surf guitar.
It's got that.
I can't do any more than that, but you know. Yeah, I've gotten to where I play almost like I'm playing on an acoustic.
Yeah, because there's a clarity.
Yeah, it's a nice clarity. It just sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds great. I mean, stuff you would do on a Gibson hollow body, like jazz guitar.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like,
right. Yeah, I compared it earlier to like a Gretsch.
Yeah. I mean, it just can do just about anything. I think. I mean, I think it's really great. And it's 1959. It's just really incredible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, they Danelectro continued to make guitars and then ended up going out of business. When kind of the whole Montgomery Ward phase thing went out, they just didn't have a channel to sell the guitars, you know. And
the Cowboys went home.
The Cowboys went home, yeah.
Sears catalogs.
Right. Yeah, when the Cowboys lost the war and had to give up their Sears catalogs.
I remember when the Cowboys went home.
That's the history that I remember. And the aliens came in, and
and they were like, "Go home!"
Right, and they built the pyramids and all that. I remember.
Go to your homes.
Go to your nearest pyramid, Cowboys.
Go to your nearest Pizza Hut.
For a sit-down Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man.
For a nice sit-down dinner.
And Miss Pac-Man.
And Miss Pac-Man. Yeah, and Centipede.
Yeah,
well, that one.
Cowboy Centipede. Yeah.
Paid it off.
So, they have this brand again has been rebooted here. It was rebooted in the 00s, and they did okay with it. But the folks doing it now seem to be making some really amazing guitars at a crazy good price point. I mean, they're like $300, $400 guitars nowadays, and they're trying to honor the fact that these were inexpensive guitars. Back in the
that's
day.
cool.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I hadn't played one of those yet, so we'll see. We'll see if they watch this video and they're like, we should totally send those dudes one of our guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, if y'all had that idea, that's on y'all. That's
cool. I didn't have that idea.
I didn't even think of that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me.
I didn't say it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, that's it. The 1959 Danelectro, gorgeous, amazing rock out guitar that is the sound of early rock and roll, even though it was a cheap guitar. Made hollow,
open up,
and with a composite material, probably for cost savings, but ended up creating some of the best tone that you can have in a guitar. So there you go.
And if you wanted to, you could drill a hole in there and put top secret stuff inside your guitar.
You totally could. You totally could. Like stuff about Goose and
Gander.
Maverick and
evidence.
any of the top secret stuff that you have.
Any of your any of your evidence of your crime, your secret crime, where you killed your spouse, you can put it in there.
All right. Well, if you find the murderer, or if you want to learn more about this guitar, get in touch with us. I guess we'll see you next time on the local
Pickup. Weird. Man, that sounded weird. We redo that.
We'll see you next time on the local
Pickup.
I think that's a keeper, like a goalie in soccer. We'll go back
It's a classic.
Go back to a classic.